Have you ever pondered how the lines on a map can change the course of millions of lives? Before the mid-20th century, the Indian subcontinent was a vibrant tapestry of diverse cultures, languages, and religions, all under the yoke of British rule. This unity and diversity was the region's strength and its identity, but it was not without its tensions. As the years rolled by, the subcontinent began to simmer with the rising heat of independence movements. The desire for freedom from the British was a unifying force, yet the question of what shape that freedom would take started to stir up divisions. Increasingly, Hindus and Muslims, who had coexisted for centuries, found themselves at odds, their unity fraying at the seams. With the end of World War II, the British Empire was on its knees. Calls for independence in India, once whispers in the dark, were now resounding cries heard around the world. As World War II ended, the British Empire was crumbling, and the calls for independence in India grew louder and louder. In the midst of this turmoil, a decision was made that would forever alter the fate of the subcontinent. A British barrister, Cyril Radcliffe, was tasked with the monumental responsibility of drawing the border lines that would delineate India and Pakistan. Radcliffe, with no prior knowledge of the region, found himself under immense pressure and against the ticking clock. With only 5 weeks at his disposal, he was to carve out nations from a land swathed in a rich and complex tapestry of religious, ethnic, and linguistic diversity. The announcement of the partition plan was met with a mix of shock and disbelief. The hurried and haphazard nature of the process only added to the chaos. Decisions affecting millions were made behind closed doors and maps were hastily drawn with little regard for ground realities. The lines were drawn and the date was set. A new nation was about to be born. On August 14, 1947, Pakistan emerged on the world map, followed by India a day later. As the clock struck midnight, the celebrations of independence erupted across the newly formed nations. Fireworks lit up the sky, people danced in the streets, and leaders gave impassioned speeches about a bright future. Yet, the jubilation was juxtaposed with a grim reality. The partition, often referred to as the Great Divide, sparked one of the largest mass migrations in human history. An estimated 15 million people, Muslims moving to Pakistan, Hindus and Sikhs to India, uprooted their lives in a desperate bid to reach the right side of the border. This massive demographic shift was marred by communal violence, causing the loss of an estimated 1 million lives. Homes were abandoned, properties were lost, and communities that had coexisted for centuries were ripped apart. In the midst of joy and freedom, the subcontinent was engulfed in one of the largest and bloodiest migrations in human history. The echoes of partition continue to reverberate even today. The political landscape of South Asia was forever altered by the birth of these two nations. The rivalry between India and Pakistan is an enduring legacy of the partition, marked by bouts of diplomatic tension and, at times, military conflict. The thorny issue of Kashmir, a region claimed by both countries, is a direct offshoot of this historical event. Despite numerous attempts at resolution, the Kashmir dispute remains a heated point of contention, fueling the fires of hostility. The socio-economic consequences of partition have been far-reaching. Both nations faced enormous challenges in managing the massive human displacement, reshaping their economies and establishing their identities. The aftermath of partition birthed a diaspora shaped by memories of displacement, loss, and adaptation. The partition of India and Pakistan, a momentous event, left a legacy of division and conflict that still shapes the subcontinent. In just a few minutes, we have journeyed through a turbulent and transformative period in history. We've traced the contours of the unraveling of a nation, witnessing the gradual dissolution of British India. We've examined the architects of this division, the strategic minds who etched borders into a land, birthing two distinct nations, India and Pakistan. We've explored the immediate aftermath of this seismic shift, a period marked by massive population exchanges, widespread violence, and profound social upheaval. Lastly, we've considered the enduring legacy of the partition, its economic and political reverberations, and the indelible mark it left on the cultural and national identities of both nations. Yet, our exploration is far from exhaustive. The partition of India and Pakistan is a complex tapestry, woven with threads of human triumph and tragedy. As we reflect on the partition of India and Pakistan, we are reminded of the power of lines on a map and the profound ways in which they can shape history and human lives.